their God was going to come back to life. And you see, this is where reincarnation began. You don't die and go to heaven or hell. You come back in another form. This other form that Nimrod supposedly came back into was known as Tammuz. You will, as a matter of fact, find mention of Tammuz in Ezekiel 8:14. We'll get to that in a second. But Tammuz, he was nowhere near as good a hunter as his father was, because when he was 40 years old, while he was hunting, a wild boar had killed him. Their dead god had gone back to the underworld again. Now, in Ezekiel 8:14, there's an interesting event going on. God is showing Ezekiel certain things that's going on in his own house, in the very temple of God himself. One of those events that was going on was there was these women weeping and wailing and fasting over the death of their god, Tammuz. Now, occultically speaking, the tradition states that there's a 40-day period in which you fast, you cry, you pray, and you give things up because of the death of Tammuz. This is where the Catholic got Lent from. Lent is a 40-day period, and every single one of those days represents one of the years of Tammuz's life. And there's a lot more to this. There really is. I mean, come on, people. Think about this. What does an Easter bunny and the Easter egg have to do with the resurrection of Christ? I mean, either I failed my theology classes or something occultically is going on here that we just haven't been told about. And you will find out, and I will say this, and this is not a popular statement, but then again, the truth never has been popular today. And again, I really feel sorry for those Catholic people, because like so many other people, they've been lied to. They've been deceived. Catholicism is based purely on the occult religions. I can prove this. I've done it in books before. If you compare the Catholic belief system, the Catholic Mass, everything about it, you're going to find out it's one and the same thing. There's no difference. There is no difference. I mean, I could, when I was in the occult, I could walk into a Catholic Mass and feel right at home. And this was an Illuminist at the time. It's unfortunate, but this is true. Now, at the Great Dispersion at the Tower of Babylon, it didn't end there. I mean, come on, common sense tells us these people, when they spread abroad throughout the world, did they forget their occult religion? Of course not. They took it with them. This is how it got spread all the way through Asia, through North America, through Great Britain, India alone. I know missionaries that are going crazy because those people are worshiping over 300 million gods. I mean, they have a god for everything. They can't live without a god of the paper, a god of the pulpit, a god of the flowers. Paul was going crazy also, because remember, when he was in Greece, as was walking down the roads, there was more gods, and just in case someone forgot one, there was the unknown god. I mean, you want to talk about, walking on eggshells. But anyways, along the line, when we get into Egypt, and I'm going to pick this part of the story up fast, Moses is in the story now. Moses, for the first 40 years of his life, was raised with a gold spoon in his mouth. Let's face it, this guy was the adopted son of the daughter of Pharaoh Ramses I. We believe Pharaoh Ramses II was the Pharaoh during Moses' time. And it's very possible Moses could have become the next Pharaoh had he not killed an Egyptian. While he was growing up, Moses was taught art, architect, literature, the sciences, mathematics, engineering, and for 40 years, the occult religion of Egypt. He was in and out of the temples of Moloch like all the other followers. He messes up, he kills an Egyptian, he has to get out of there. He's no exception. This is the version of the death sentence I like. You kill someone, that's it. I can't help but say to myself, why should I have to pay for the next 60 years for you to live in the Holiday Hilton? You know, maybe I'm just old-fashioned. But anyways, Moses, to make a very long story short, gets out of there, runs to the land of Midian, runs into Jephthah, a very wealthy priest of Judaism who's making good money in the cattle industry. He has many daughters. He also has many sheep, but one of the daughters was named Zipporah. Zipporah meets Moses. Moses meets Zipporah. They like each other. They get married. It was a Jewish wedding. Anyway, so for the next 40 years, Moses is out there tending to the sheep, learning all of Midian, the land and everything. It was no accident he went to Midian. He thinks he ran there, but God sort of directed him, because in order to get to the mountains of Sinai and to the Promised Land, you have to first go through Midian. Midian is a vast area, and if you're going to take about 2.5 million Jewish people with you, it better be a big area. While he's there, a sheep gets lost and ends up on the top of Mount Sinai. Moses goes follow it, tries to get it like the good shepherd it is, and lo and behold, there was a burning bush. Now this would get anyone's attention, especially if it was talking to you. Moses, this is God. Take your sandals off, this is holy ground. I've got a job for you. Moses, you're going to go down to the land of Egypt where Pharaoh sits, and you're going to take the entire workforce and get out of there. Do you know Moses was not into this? You read the scriptures very carefully. 5 times Moses was trying to worm himself out of it. One of my favorite times is that, but God, I'm a lousy speaker and I have a slow tongue. Wait a second. If you read over in the book of Acts, Luke was saying that Moses was a great orator and a man of mighty words. Now, doesn't this sound like Moses was just about this far away from lying? Now, come on, people. Don't you think by now we have sanctified and glorified and elevated these people to where they're no longer human? And that's all they were. These dear brothers and sisters of ours in the past were no different than any single one of you, except for one single thing: the level of their commitment, of their faith. That's the only difference. Any single one of you is capable of doing a lot better than what they did back then. It's true. Even Christ himself said, greater deeds are you going to be able to do. And why not? Because all power and authority was given unto you in heaven. Every single one of you in this room have that power. So why aren't we exercising it? Moses is really badgering God about this. Finally, Moses says, can you please send someone with me? Okay, take Aaron. Now, Aaron was psyched for this. I mean, come on. God says to Moses, okay, this is what you're going to be able to do. You can take the staff, turn it into a snake. You can take the water, strike it, and turn to blood. You can call the frogs out. You can take your hand, stick it in your pocket. Look, it's leprosy, and the hand is quicker than the eye. Look, it's gone. This got Aaron's attention. He was psyched to go. Moses was not. Moses was not in the least bit impressed. And you're going to find out why. Now, I mean, come on. Any single one of us right now that saw a staff turned into a snake or the water turned to blood, I mean, this would be wow. Okay. They go down to Egypt and they're about to do their thing. Pharaoh, on the other hand, you have to look at Pharaoh. Pharaoh is considered the God king upon the face of the earth. Pharaoh, owner of everything he could possibly see. Pharaoh was having these huge monuments, these cities, the Sphinx, the pyramids built after him.